Let's talk about squares today. Not the square that when you talk about a person that's a square, but simply the carpenter squares and things that you might use as a woodworker. We have several types of squares. Right here we have what we call a framing square, and this is used in framing up structures. We have a speed square. This is used again in framing up structures, and if you look here, it says hip and valley, and so if you have a hip, it gives you certain angles. Uh, this is simply a shop square, and it is used to just do a quick uh, 90-degree angle. We have a tri-square, and this has a slide issue that can get you different things, and a 45-degree angle. And then we have a second smaller, not really a framing square, but just a smaller square. And there are many others that you could find. Now,
Can you show the smaller framing square real quick?
this is the smaller. It's not really a framing square, but it is a smaller square. Okay, so if we wanted to, for instance, simply cut a board or draw a straight line on a board, one thing we can use, and I'm going to use a magic marker for visibility. Generally, we throw these away because we don't want magic markers because they're harder to clean up than pencils. So if we wanted to draw a straight line, you can see that's not a very good magic marker, but there's a straight line, easy to do with any of your squares at a 90-degree angle. For this one, you have to cock it a little bit to catch the wood. And so this has the ability to have a straight line without doing that. We can also use the tri-square, and again we can draw a straight line, and finally we use our shop square, a straight line. Now if you want to draw a 45-degree angle, this also has that possibility. So you put it up against there, and that's a 45-degree angle. This also has that 45-degree angle that can be drawn simply like that. And this also has a 45-degree angle simply going like that. Now this has another possibility, and we're not going to be talking about trusses and studs and all that kind of stuff, but we're simply talking about using them in the shop. And so one of the advantages of this one, I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but you see it has numbers along this side. It also has numbers here. Well, if you wanted to, for example, say you wanted a line that was 2 inches from the edge of this board. Well, one way to do it, and if I can get this to work, is put it on the 2-inch mark and just pull it along. There's a 2-inch horizontal line. Another way to do that would be to set this square, we'll set it at 3 so you can see that. There's 3 inches. See that? And if we wanted to do it with this square, we could simply hold our measure there, and that gives us a straight line in that way. One of the other things about this square, you notice here it has the word pivot, and so you can cut an angle, and here is degrees, and you have up to 80 degrees there, which you have to take that from 90, so that would actually only be 10 degrees. This angle would be only 10 degrees. If you wanted a 45 on this, you go to the number 45 right there and mark it here. And if you'll notice, that is a 45-degree angle. And you can turn it this way. 45 works both ways. So there are all kinds of squares, and they each have their advantage. I wanted to mention about the framing square. One of the big things about having a framing square in your shop is not so you can do trusses, which this allows you to do, or not trusses, but your cuts for rafters. But one thing you can do is check the square of a larger board. And so if you have a larger board, you can check the square of it to make sure that your end or your sides are square at this point. Okay, well there's all our squares.